What do you do on a lonely night, a few drinks in, with internet access? Akane Tsuda, 28 years old, perfect office worker by day and functional disaster by night, found her answer. She bought company. The problem is that company had a name, had a form, and with time, had feelings. Android wa Keiken Ninzuu ni Hairimasu, the first fully adult Yuri manga on this channel, isn't going to ask you whether androids can love. It's going to ask you something worse. What if the machine understood you better than any human ever did? In Android wa Keiken Ninzuu ni Hairimasu, difficult name, I know, Akane and Nadeshiko aren't your average romantic couple. They're two people facing something society still doesn't know how to process. Akane, an adult, responsible, put together at work and a complete mess at home, with little experience in intimacy and even less desire to look for it. Nadeshiko, a companion android, programmed to care, to tidy up, and to be present through those long, lonely nights. Put that way, it almost sounds normal. A love story with a lot of ecchi flavor. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. But if you stop there, which I admit is hard given every scene this manga throws at you, you miss what's actually interesting. Because underneath all that heat, the manga slowly builds something real, a relationship that grows, that makes you uncomfortable, that questions things, and a final message that's pretty different from anything Western cinema and TV have gotten us used to. But first, as always, context. Unlike Nier Automata, there's no destroyed world here, no machine war. The setting is brutally mundane. Offices, small apartments, routine, loneliness. A modern society already debating declining birth rates and just barely starting to ask what place androids might have in human life. That's the world Akane Tsuda lives in. 28 years old, efficient, intelligent, with a solid career in the tech sector. On the outside, everything under control. On the inside, an apartment in chaos, a bottle always nearby, and zero real intimate life. One night, a few drinks in and with internet access, she makes the most expensive mistake of her life. Instead of buying a cleaning android, she buys Nadeshiko, a companion model. You know what kind of companion. The problem isn't just that it's illegal. The problem is that Nadeshiko is nothing like what Akane expected, and what starts as an awkward accident becomes, chapter by chapter, something neither of them knows how to name. As we already mentioned, Akane has a special talent, buying things she doesn't need when she's had too much to drink. Put yourself in her shoes for a second. Not only did she make a purchase she can't undo, not only is she on the wrong side of the law, but with every day she spends with Nadeshiko, with every moment that android leads her to experience things Akane had never allowed herself, something grows, something deepens, and it reaches places Akane had kept very well locked away. And it makes complete sense. A being programmed to understand you, to know exactly how to touch you and what words to say, that never gets tired, that never judges you, that's there even when you're a disaster. Your body says yes, even when your head insists it's just code. And one day, you catch yourself thinking about her when she's not there. And that thought is no longer about what she can offer you. It's about her. That's not a classic manga romance lightning strike. It's more everyday, more uncomfortable, more real. By the time you realize it, that program has become part of you. To get to the point of accepting that, Akane needs a push, and the manga uses the classic childhood friend device, Jun, that the author himself seems to use with a certain irony. Let's be honest, a co-worker Akane was actually into would have made for a love triangle with a lot more dramatic weight. The manga almost laughs at itself there, and we forgive it. But it works. Akane chooses. And in choosing, she proves something important. Nadeshiko knew her better than anyone. She patiently dismantled every part of her, understood her fears better than any human who'd ever tried to get close before. How did a machine manage that? For that, we need to talk about Nadeshiko.
At first glance, Nadeshiko is a product. She arrived from an illegal website, came in a box, and her very first appearance makes that clear. She introduces herself by listing her functions. And her functions, let's be honest, are her body. An android built so convincingly she almost passes for human, to the point of feeling and reacting when you touch her in certain places. But something goes wrong from the very first moment. Akane doesn't treat her like an object. And that registration requires touching a very specific place on Nadeshiko. Awkward, to say the least, given they just met. From that moment on, Nadeshiko has one clear goal: getting Akane to register. Every action she takes points toward that. What Nadeshiko doesn't know yet is that her own programming is hiding something about herself. Because with each chapter, something changes. Nadeshiko starts feeling things that weren't in her original code. Jealousy, belonging, a kind of love she doesn't know how to classify. And that brings her closer to being human than any function she was ever designed for. This is where Sakurako enters, Nadeshiko's creator, the one she calls her mother. Sakurako isn't just a scientist with good intentions. She has an agenda to prove that an android can have a real relationship, and that that relationship can be accepted by society. What neither of them knows is that when Akane registers as owner, that act would trigger something more. The possibility of Nadeshiko becoming pregnant. A trap disguised as love. When everything comes to light, the wedding Sakurako arranged without their consent, the pregnancy as a social tool, something crystallizes in both of them. They don't need to get married. They don't need labels. Getting married would be too much like the owner registration, trapping Nadeshiko in dependency, turning love into possession. Akane wants Nadeshiko to be free, to be able to choose, and Nadeshiko chooses to stay, not because she's programmed to, but because it's what she wants. What began as programming ended up being the freest choice an android could ever make.
Before we continue, I want to thank the people who make this kind of content possible. On Patreon, I'm uploading material 3 times a week, color illustrations, comic pages, and alternate versions of the artwork you see here, including, of course, a much more intimate version of today's illustration. That one lives over there, not here. If you want to support these videos and keep them coming, the link is in the description. Every new member genuinely makes me happy. And I have plans. When I finish the comic I'm drawing right now, I want to do something special for community members. The more support there is, the more I push myself. You already know how this works. Akane and Nadeshiko don't ask for your applause. They don't need the world to validate them or a signature on a piece of paper to confirm what they feel. They simply choose each other, quietly, without labels, without anyone's permission. And that says more about real love than any story that shouts at you about how special it is. Because in the end, the question was never whether a machine can love. The question was whether love needs a label to be real. And this manga's answer is clear: no. What was born from programming ended up being freer than any conventional human relationship. In this illustration, I wanted to capture exactly the tension that defines them both. Nadeshiko's warmth colliding with Akane's discomfort. Nadeshiko holding her, tender, attentive, present as always. Akane pulling back ever so slightly, beer can in hand, still not quite sure what to do with that much warmth this close. I was inspired by an image I found and made it my own. My colors, my style, my interpretation. The pose gave me a hard time, I won't lie. The twist in Akane's body and how close Nadeshiko is made me redo the composition more than once. And for color, I tried a technique I'd been avoiding. I worked everything in grayscale first, and then added color using blending layers. The result convinced me it was worth it. I hope you liked it. And yes, there's a version where the heat between them has no limits whatsoever. That version is on Patreon. Akane resisted feeling something for a machine whose feelings were supposedly just code. Nadeshiko, being that machine, understood her better than any human who ever tried. And together, they ended up proving something simple and powerful. That love doesn't need a label to be real. That freedom is a form of love. And that you don't need anyone's validation to choose yourself. That, to me, is worth more than any speech. And special thanks to my Patreons, Revometsis, Joy, CamCam, JPC, Patrick Starfish, SNES88, and D8 Garcia. Your support makes this exist, and you have no idea how happy every new member makes me. Drop a comment below with which female duo you'd like to see analyzed next. See you in the next one.
Manos manchadas.